Hi, this is Tay with Thinking with Tay. We have here with us today Attorney Regina Mitchell Taylor. Regina is, I'll just tell you, to me, the epitome of a successful entrepreneurial, not just Black woman, but a bad ass woman.
Wow.
I have looked up to her for many, many years. She gave me my first job in this legal profession. Um, some of you may know, and others I'm letting know, I am a licensed attorney here in the state of North Carolina, and so is Regina Mitchell Taylor. Miss Taylor, I've known for a number of years, but she was the first African American female attorney in Catawba County, Hickory, North Carolina, Catawba County. And I must tell you, she is a pillar in the community. She has been an example to many, myself included, and I do call her my first official mentor. Regina picks up the phone for me anytime I call. She has given me advice. So, who you see here today as a legal professional, I owe a lot of debt and gratitude to Attorney Regina Mitchell Taylor. So, without further ado, Regina, hello. I just want to say hello first before we get into all of this greatness that you have to offer today. And thank you for being
Wow.
with us.
You're the best cheerleading squad. Thank you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Regina. I am doing fine. I'm so happy you decided to be my first guest on Thinking with
Okay.
Tay, and
Okay.
hopefully the first of many.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan.
Okay, so good. We can get into it, Regina. I
Okay.
do want to share with others, introduce formally to some, but of course, a lot of those that grew up with us and around us know you all too well. But for everyone else, virtually and in this global world, I want to share Attorney Regina Mitchell Taylor. Attorney Taylor decided to become a lawyer when she was in the fourth grade, when she saw a lawyer on television. She always loved mystery books, solving puzzles, and brain teasers. Her love for helping people comes naturally. I agree. Her parents owned a small business in our community, and people always came to her father for advice and assistance about their problems. Her father was not a lawyer, but a funeral director. And I know all too well, he's buried many of my family members as well as many others. No matter what the situation, he would give them his opinion and refer them to his lawyer or someone else that, he thought could help. He would even make phone calls for them. She thinks that she gets her practical side from her mother. Um, she has a knack for looking at a situation and getting right to the point, and she does. And she'll hurry you up to get to the point if you don't get there fast enough. Um, she thinks she's perfect, a perfect combination of both of her parents. Now, Attorney Taylor is also a graduate of North Carolina A&T State University, where she received a Bachelor's of Science degree in Business Administration with a concentration in banking and finance. She received her law degree in 1991 from North Carolina Central University School of Law in Durham, North Carolina, where she was a member of the Law Journal and the chairman of the Moot Court Board. Again, leading even in law school. Early in law school, she knew she wanted to return to her hometown to practice law. She opened a practice in our hometown in 1991. Practicing at home offered her many opportunities to handle a variety of cases ranging from family law, adoptions, criminal law, workers' compensation, wrongful death cases. After 8 years in private practice, she went to work with the Catawba County Department of Social Services, where she handled cases ranging from abuse and adult protective services. In 2001, she opened her practice in Gastonia, North Carolina. She has also worked as a contract attorney for the Alexander County Department of Social Services, Gaston County Department of Social Services, and the Lincoln County Department of Social Services. Again, busy woman. She's licensed to practice law in North Carolina, and she is admitted to practice in the U.S. federal courts for the Western District of North Carolina and Middle District of North Carolina. Her professional memberships and affiliations include the North Carolina Bar Association Family Law, Bankruptcy Law, Business Law sections, the North Carolina Association of Black Attorneys, North Carolina Advocates for Justice, the American Bar Association, and the Gaston County Bar Association. She believes in giving back to her community. She is currently the chairperson of the Gaston County UNCF Scholarship Committee and a leader of a Girl Scout troop of 14 bright and intelligent girls. She is a former board member of the Gastonia Housing Authority and the former president of the Links Incorporated Piedmont chapter. She is married and has 2 adult sons. Hear ye, Attorney Regina Mitchell-Taylor. Thank you again so much for being here with us.
Oh, thank you for having me. God, you make me sound real good. I like that.
Oh, honey, it is good. I'm not making any of it up. I'm not making any of this up. And we'll get started. Regina, I will tell you again, it's an honor to have you today. I think the world, the absolute world of you. I've said it to anybody that I come in contact with, whether they know you or not. You have really made a difference in my life, and I'm just grateful to have you in my life. So some of the questions, again, we're just going to have fun with this.
Yeah.
So I'd like to just start off by saying, what area of law do you practice currently?
Okay, I like to say it this way. I tell people, I said, this current iteration of my life, I am practicing family law, estate administration, estate planning. I do still practice business law. I help small businesses from formation, contracts, whatever, collections. And then I dibble and dab in some other things, but the primary focus, though, is family law at this point in time.
Okay, great.
That's what I'm doing.
Now, so when did you know that you wanted to become a lawyer? I know I kind of said early on you were in the 4th grade, and there were some things or shows that maybe helped get you.
I don't know if it helped me, but I probably was. I mean, somebody asked me, well, what was the show? And I honestly don't remember the exact show, but I saw something on TV where somebody was, it was a court scene. They're arguing for somebody. And they're helping this person, but that was the first thought. When I was in elementary school, anybody asked me, Regina, what do you want to do when you grow up? I'd say I want to be a lawyer. And then now, over the years, certainly my mind went different places. I thought about being a stockbroker. For example, I majored in business finance. So that's kind of how I went there. And that was kind of really a fallback plan. I said, well, if I don't get in law school, then I can always be a stockbroker. For sure. So that was what my thought was. But of course, I'm still, even in college, I'm going to law school. So I've kind of been pretty steadfast in that, and haven't really, in terms of a career, thought about doing anything else other than practicing law.
That's very interesting. I have a similar story. I wanted to be a lawyer at the age of 9. I knew I wanted to be a lawyer at the age of 9. And the interesting thing was I too saw a show, but the show was Matlock. I don't know if that was a show, yeah, but it was a Matlock. And that was the first time that I saw actual people advocating and litigating in a courtroom. And I was like, oh my gosh, I said, that's pretty interesting. And then after that, my mom got into a car accident. And I remember her taking me to a law firm. And then taking me to the law firm, I kind of actually saw the physical in the present sense of what lawyers actually do. And then lastly, it was the Cosby Show. Claire Huxtable was a major inspiration because I saw someone that looked like me. Even though they didn't give her many courtroom scenes, she was just the epitome of grace and strength, and it was all in a beautiful package on TV. But anyway, so thank you for that. And so, um, what was the educational path that you took to become a lawyer?
Okay, so of course, and I'm going to break it down like I'm talking to a kid or
Absolutely,
a high school student. So of course
absolutely.
you got to graduate high school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I graduated from obviously college. So
Mm-hmm.
you gotta go to college. You got to make good grades in college. And then of course I went straight to law school. I didn't take any time off. And
Mm.
when I say I went straight to law school, I didn't. I finished college in 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to do a summer school session.
Yes.
So, okay. So my senior year, May comes, I go back to summer school. So I
Oh my.
literally, yeah, you get the point. I literally finished summer school
Oh
and about a
my.
month later started my law school classes. So when
What
I
were
say,
you?
I
What were
went
you thinking?
straight through, I went straight through.
Oh
Um,
my
but
goodness.
I'm glad I did though, because I kept that momentum. And
Mm-hmm.
and I tell young people in college now, like if you want to go to grad school, keep going, keep going. Because once you
Mm-hmm.
get that momentum going, it's easier to stop. You don't start working and making bills and getting
Mm-hmm.
married and having kids, and
All
which is
of it.
all good things. They're all good things, but sometimes that can slow you down a little bit. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And so thanks for sharing the educational path. Now, can you share a little bit like how you prepared for law school during your undergraduate, days, or did you,
I
how,
don't know if
how,
you
how, how, like, what was your thought process, in knowing, oh, I'm going to law school right after, and you just kind of moved in? Like, what was your, how did you prepare, during your undergraduate?
So that's a good question. I don't know if I did prepare. I'll be honest with you.
Okay. Okay.
Because when you don't know, you don't know.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
I have Let me go back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Before I went to law school,
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe I'd ever met a lawyer.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, I had never met a lawyer
Wow.
in person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Jason Parker, and you know Jason in Hickory,
Yes.
he was
Yes,
the
we
first
do.
one I think I ever saw. And I was in high
Wow.
school then, but I
Okay.
didn't know him.
Right. And
But I
neither did
saw
I. But
him. So
yes,
it's like,
very
oh,
familiar.
they do
Yes,
exist.
that's right. Did
They do
great work in our
exist.
community as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he was the first one that I saw. But in terms of me
Okay.
actually meeting and having, I never had that experience. So even when I went to college, I don't know if I knew what I had in store for me, what was waiting.
Okay.
So in
Okay.
terms of did I prepare? I mean, I'm like you, I was a good student. You were a good
Yes.
student.
Yes.
We can do school.
We can do
We can do school. So
so.
I was a good student, but in
Right.
terms of preparing, I don't know. But now, if I could give someone advice today on how to
Yes.
prepare,
Yes.
that's a
Yes.
different question.
That's a different question, but it's
Yeah.
great. It was one of the questions I was going to ask.
Yeah. So I can roll into that one.
You
I
can
would
roll right on into
recommend
it.
um, even if you can find an attorney that would let you serve an internship with them, that would be fantastic. But if
Perfect.
even if you can't, if you could
Mm-hmm.
even reach out to an attorney, maybe see if
Mm-hmm.
you can shadow them for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
trying it. I think it would be ideal if you could build some kind of relationship with somebody, because they could kind of
Excellent.
mentor you, kind of give you some advice on how to prepare even in law school and choosing your electives. Just based on the career path you're choosing. If you could do that, I think that would be just ideal. And I get a lot of calls now from young people, just young
Mm-hmm.
people trying to do that, and I really encourage it. I think that's just a fantastic way to prepare.
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent, excellent advice and information. So tell me, I think I probably know at least one of them, but who
Mhm.
would be your biggest, or who would you consider to be your biggest inspiration?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna. This is so funny. You said you think you know. That's gonna be interesting. Well, my father, he's my first
I
example as a
yes.
business person.
Okay.
And because he always let me, which is really, I don't know, he must have seen something in me. I don't know. Because even as a little girl, I was able to go in his office and sit at his desk
Wow.
and everybody in my family can tell you, you don't touch my daddy's desk. But I was
Mm-hmm.
able as a little girl to go in his office, put back in that time, they had typewriters, they didn't have computers.
Yes.
Put paper in the typewriter, sit there and type. I do all kind of stuff. And he never
Yes.
stopped me. So
Yes.
he certainly, and just the advice he gave me over the years on
Awesome.
business and how to handle things, interact with
Mm-hmm.
people, deal with people in different
Mm-hmm.
situations. That was
Mm-hmm.
priceless. And then um as a woman, oh my God, the
Yes.
list is long.
I mean,
I would say all my teachers, even we're from Hickory.
yes.
So I probably only had, I know for a fact, I had two Black teachers and a Black librarian. And these ladies you may not know, but Helen Crutchfield,
Yes.
Dorothy Patterson was my fifth
Yes.
grade teacher. And
Mm-hmm.
then Rosa Barnhill was my librarian at Highland Elementary. And she was
Okay.
really one that kind of pushed me. And
Wow.
oh yeah. So those
Okay.
women. And then this is somebody Sherbia Jones. And she
Yes.
sold insurance. So as a woman, she's like in Hickory, she's like
Yes.
you're a businesswoman,
Yes. Yes,
she
she
was
was.
always
Yes,
dressed
she was.
impeccably, and she still dresses nice
She's
now. And
still
I don't
dressed
know what her
impeccably.
age is
Yes.
now, but she was one. I'd add her to my list. Um,
Yes.
and then certainly, I mean, I've always been big in politics. So anytime you see
Yes.
a political figure, I always, looked up to those women. And the list is, I could go on and on and on.
Absolutely. I can attest and I agree with every last one of those that you named. Zian Hull was another when you talked
Yes, you
about a
know.
political figure,
Mm-hmm.
female in our community. But like you said, the list goes on and we're so grateful for them.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I have to say, I'm adding your name to the list for me.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
as the
Well,
most
thank you.
impactful.
Thank
Absolutely. So and then
you.
what I'll say attorney inspired you the most?
See, that's hard.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean it's not a bad hard, but
Okay.
so probably when I first, again, a lot of first, I had to be a little aggressive when I when I first came out of law school, because I started my practice again, just open my doors,
Just
printed some
open your
stationery and open
door.
my doors.
I
So
remember.
there's an attorney, she's retired now, Shirley Anthony. She had an office in downtown Hickory. So
Mm-hmm.
one day after I opened my office, I picked up the phone and called her and introduced
Smart.
myself to her. And we had lunch. And
Mm-hmm.
she didn't know me from Adam's house cat, but she she sat down and met with me. She would
I
go
love it.
over forms
I
and
love it.
pleadings and different
Wow.
things with me. I could
Wow.
call her, and she's a Caucasian female. Not that it
Yes.
matters, but I just want to make that
Yes.
distinction.
Absolutely.
But she sat
Absolutely.
down and gave me so much help and information. Um,
Yes.
so that was awesome, a good
Mm-hmm.
start for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I look at the Black. I joined the North Carolina Association of Black Lawyers when I came
Mm-hmm.
out of law school, and that's
Mm-hmm.
one thing about North Carolina Central. When I was in law school, they really encouraged us to become involved in the NCABL. So
Yes.
I not only joined, but I became a member of the Board of Governors. Yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
fresh out
Mm-hmm.
of law school, but that gave me the
Wow.
opportunity to meet Black attorneys from all over the state. And we used to meet monthly at different locations throughout the state. So I would drive,
Wow.
it was nothing for me to drive to New Bern for meetings.
But the networking
But not only the networking and the information that they
that you,
shared with me was
wow.
priceless. So
Wow.
some of the people, Pamela Stanback Glean, she died not too long ago.
Oh,
She was
sorry to
in
hear
the
that.
Durham area, I think is
Okay.
where she was.
Mm-hmm.
Geraldine Sumter in Charlotte, I had the opportunity to meet her
Mm-hmm.
as I began to be in the NCABL. Who were some of the other
Mm-hmm.
Black women? And it was just being around that sisterhood and the information that they were
That's
able to
right.
share.
Wow.
It was priceless. It was priceless.
Oh,
And then, sure, I met Judge Shirley Fulton.
yes.
The way
Yes.
let me tell you
Very
how I met
prominent
her.
judge
Let me tell
in
you how I met
Charlotte,
her.
North Carolina. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, she's passed a few years ago.
Yes,
But
yes.
she was holding court in Catawba County. And someone, yeah, that's why I said this is a funny story.
Yeah.
And she was presiding over criminal court, and there was a lady that appeared in front of her and told her that I was her attorney.
Okay.
So when that typically happens, for those of you that don't have a lot of experience with the court system, when that happens and the attorney's not there, the judge will tell the clerk, call that attorney
Yes.
and
Oh,
tell
yes.
them to come down here. Well, the
Right.
funny thing about it was this person had not retained me. But because the judge was
That
calling,
happens sometimes.
yeah. But because
Yes.
the judge was calling, I got in my little car and drove down there.
Clearly you did.
So when I walked into the courtroom, I cannot say 100%, but I didn't think she expected me to look like I did.
Right.
So we addressed the issue, and I explained to her that this person had not retained me. We did have a consult, but they hadn't retained me. And so after she dealt with that and gave the person a court-appointed lawyer, she said, "Well, Miss Taylor, was that?" I don't know if I think I was probably Mitchell at that point.
You may have been Mitchell still then.
Before I got married. But she said, "Miss Mitchell, will you approach the bench?" And I go up to her. I don't know what she's going to say to me. But I'd heard about her. Now I know about her, but I'd never met her.
Oh, she's thorough. She was thorough. Yeah.
So I walk up to the bench and she said, "What are you doing for lunch?"
Oh my goodness.
She said, and of course I'm like, "I'm free." She said, "Well, just meet me at such and such, you choose the place and meet me." So then we had lunch, and it was just like talking to an old friend.
Oh my
goodness. It was like, an hour and a half. And so that's how I met her. So I think God has just put certain people in my life, and it just happened. It just happens. So yeah, Shirley Fulton would definitely be one.
Awesome. Awesome. I have had an opportunity to meet her on a couple of occasions, and I mean, she is, I can't even say, I don't even have the words to describe her. And, rest her soul. She's certainly missed in this community, this state, and I imagine the country, but so impactful, and did great legal work for all of us. So great. And then, so how many years, I think we said, you've practiced, because you got licensed in 91 as well.
Oh yeah, I got licensed in September of 91. And so I think that makes this, what, it'd be 33 years? Oh my gosh. Yeah.
33 years.
Yeah. I was in
the practice of law.
Yeah. I was in a meeting with some young lawyers. It's so funny. Whenever you meet a young lawyer, somebody that's either recently barred or, whatever, and they say, "Well, how long have you been practicing?" And I tell them, they go, "Wow." And I said, "Why do you say it like that?" Like, wow. I had one tell me,
I'm saying wow. Okay.
I haven't been alive that long. And I said, "You didn't have to add that part to it." But
I know. That was a little bit extra, but thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, you're looking good. You're looking phenomenal. And it's a whole bunch of wisdom there. So, honey, 33 years is
It'll be 33 in September. Yeah.
33 in September. And I tell you, I mean, just business in general. I mean, your dad, well, you guys are still carrying on the legacy now. I mean, over 60 some years as a funeral director and having that business. Well, you following very well. 33 years.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna have 60 on this, but anyway. I have 60. I can tell you that now.
No, you won't see 60.
No, not in the practice of law. No. No, ma'am.
You say, no, I'll probably do something else.
Yeah.
Well, good. So, speaking on that same wavelength, so how have you maintained the longevity for those 33 years? It couldn't have been easy. So is there something you can share with us, those who are in business, newly in business, those that are not 33 years in? Is there something that you use on a day-to-day basis, or just, what is your motivation for the longevity, and what has sustained you 33 years?
Well, I think that I'm a people person. Okay. So I can talk to anybody.
Yes.
And relationships are really big for me. So I think you have to have other relationships, whether they're female or male, people that you can talk to, people that you can socialize outside of, and they can be other attorneys, but that you can just have a relationship with outside of the work of the law. Because it's no matter what field you're in, I think it's always stressful.
Yes.
So that's a big
Yes.
one with me. And over the years, I've had the opportunity, probably over the last maybe 15 years,
Mm-hmm.
I've had the opportunity 10 to 15 years to build relationships with attorneys from all over the country. And that has,
Yes.
I just got it looking at my phone. I just got a text from an attorney in Illinois. I got to call.
Wow.
But I know attorneys now, and it's so funny. Um, in many, many states. And we've built
Mm-hmm.
relationships and and a lot of them are entrepreneurial attorneys,
Mm-hmm.
which is different from just the attorney just practicing every day. Because we're
That's
now
true.
focused maybe more on the business side and we have
Mm-hmm.
things we do outside of the practice of
Mm-hmm.
law. So I've met some fantastic men and women. I had a case
Awesome.
recently where my client had property in Canada.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm part of a group, and I just put the word out, say, hey, I'm looking for a Canadian family law attorney.
Right.
And I get a message back from this guy. He goes, well, I do real estate, but my wife does family law. Here's her
Awesome.
phone number. I
Okay.
call her. She
Mm-hmm.
jumps on the phone, tells me what I need per Canadian law for my case, which really, really helped me.
Awesome.
Because the other attorney
Absolutely.
had nothing. Had
Oh
nothing.
my goodness. Oh my goodness.
But we were able to develop a relationship.
Yes.
And she has had questions about, US law, and she's called me and I've been able to put her in contact. And so it's been priceless. I've met an attorney from Ireland.
Awesome. Awesome.
Recently got some business advice from another attorney in Canada on how
Yes.
he grew his practice. So it's just, I think you've got to, because everything, and then you got to have hobbies. So like I said,
Mm-hmm.
building those
Yes.
relationships,
Mm-hmm.
having some hobbies, something outside of the law. And then you of course never want to neglect your family.
That's
So I
right.
think that if you pay attention to, like, try to as much as you can, all the parts of your life,
Mm-hmm.
work, family, friends, whatever your spiritual leanings are, take care of that. Get you some
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
exercise. I think
Mm-hmm.
all of that helps you be mentally healthy, physically healthy, and emotionally healthy. And
Absolutely.
if you have all those parts, then if you have the desire to stay in the practice of law for a long period of time, I think you can if you do that. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't, I think you're going to get stressed out, you're going to get depressed.
Mm-hmm.
Our field is full of people who have substance, just as many other careers are stressful careers,
Absolutely.
but people who have substance abuse problems, untreated mental health because they don't take care of themselves. So
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to do that. That's my
You
soapbox.
absolutely do. And that's great advice. It's true. And we do have the benefit, in North Carolina as well as other states, as you just mentioned, those that may suffer from depression, mental health, the North Carolina Lawyers Assistance Program, which is a really good program that attorneys, can use and have available to them so that they can utilize those
Yeah.
resources. But you're absolutely right. I totally believe in having a balanced life. You have to be able to enjoy. And I know that you travel, you have a group of friends you travel with as
Mhm.
well. And, your children are, of age, of the age of majority and have their own lives as well. But, I know you and your husband have been together for a number of years. How many years now?
You're gonna make me do the
Am
math.
I putting you
Um,
on the spot?
we will have been married 29 years in May. So I guess we've been
Oh
together
my
30,
goodness.
but we've married 29 in May.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. So you definitely have and are a great example of being able to balance, home, family, your business, and obviously your legal career. It I know personally it's a challenge as a
Mhm.
lawyer myself, but you certainly make it look good. So let me ask you, what cases, what type of cases have you litigated? I know that you have been admitted in front of like some federal, court. So like, is there one you want to share or what type of cases? I know you've done
Oh, wow.
bankruptcy,
Hmm.
um, you know,
I'm trying to think of the name. I just went blank.
it's
I've
okay.
in federal court, I have
Yes.
handled defamation of character is what it was. Somebody filed it. We got it dismissed. Somebody filed that in federal court.
Okay.
I love federal court. A lot of people don't,
Yes.
but I like it because it's so organized.
Okay.
You have your timelines. They move
Mm-hmm.
those cases right along in federal court. But that's what I've handled. I've bankruptcy. Um, and then I had that defamation of character. But I love litigation. A lot of people don't, but I like litigation. I was telling somebody the other day, I said, I'm a litigation attorney. And they're like, what? I said, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
can litigate anything. But
Yes. And
I
you
like that.
can.
Yeah, I like
You
that.
stand, as they say, the young people say, 10 toes down, and you represent. I do know that. I've seen her at work, and she's very statuesque and poised, but she will handle it. Okay.
Yeah.
So I have seen that firsthand. So if you all are looking for somebody to represent you, Attorney Regina Mitchell Taylor certainly is the one. Okay. So great. Okay. So um I don't know, maybe you've already sort of touched on this, but has there been what's been your most impactful case, or what hit home to you? What probably did you connect? What made you, even if it's not tear up, but was there
Mhm.
something along your journey, a case or situation? And I know, there's confidentiality there, so you
Yeah.
can paint the picture how you want to. But was there a case that was most, I guess, that impacted you most?
Ooh, I don't know. I tend to get, I tell my staff or whenever I hire someone and they come, I said, I have hard cases. I
You
don't
do.
know why, but it's hard stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But is there one I could sit there and just throughout the years think of different cases, but
Mm-hmm.
typically, like in this iteration of my practice, a lot of the people, men and women, they're just like really catching it. And
Mm.
I don't know how else to describe it. I hate to see somebody who is abused. And that does not
Yes.
necessarily mean physically
Physical.
abused,
Mm-hmm.
but people just trying, and this could be their spouse.
Mm-hmm.
But I hate to
Manipulation.
see, yeah, it could be their spouse or
Mm-hmm.
whoever they're in relationship. People are
Mm-hmm.
just people for some reason, and I hope this isn't true. And I don't know if COVID did it to people, but
I
some
was
people
gonna
are mean
say,
now.
people seem to be meaner,
Yeah.
in intentionally malicious some
Mhm.
at times. I don't know if it's the spirit of the politics that's going on, the adverse. I don't know. It is a spirit that's going on, and we see it not only in adults but in children as well. And that's
Mhm.
a topic for another day. But
Yeah, but it's
I
just
totally understand. And as a former juvenile court counselor for the state of North Carolina, I certainly see it and have seen it in kids. And a lot of time you kind of can understand where it come from when you meet their parents, and
mhm,
that's unfortunate. That is really
yeah.
unfortunate.
And a lot of
Wow.
my domestic cases now, I'm seeing this desire to destroy people.
Oh
And
no.
if I represent somebody and they say, "Oh, I want you to get them," I'm like, "No, we don't get people.
No, we don't
I
get
don't
them.
believe in that.
Right.
I will represent you zealously, as you know, that's
Hmm.
what we are
That's right.
we're
That's what
required to
we are
do.
bound to do
And
ethically. Right.
I will help you get the best resolution
Hmm.
for you. But
That's right.
we don't get revenge, we don't
That's right.
destroy, we don't,
That's
and
right.
following that, it has made my practice a lot. I think it's made us successful.
Okay.
Because I think when you do that, you help the client move along too with their life.
That's where that
Um,
counselor at law comes into play.
yeah, yeah. But
Totally.
there's a yeah. So I don't have like one case. I mean, I've handled rape cases. I've handled
Wow.
cases, like I
Mm,
said, women who've been abused,
mm,
men who have been abused. I mean, it's nothing.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
It's for me, it's a different feeling
mm-hmm.
when you have a man come to see you, you're having a consult with him, and he breaks down and cries. And I've had
Yes.
that happen many times. And
Wow.
it's not that men can't cry, but just
No.
for them to have reached that point
Mm-hmm.
where they're going to sit across from a total stranger and
That's
finally
right.
feel safe enough to
Mm-hmm.
just release.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's impactful.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
impactful.
it is definitely impactful.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that, and it speaks volumes with respect to who you are. I honestly don't feel that people feel like they can break down in front of anybody, but I certainly believe that you gave those clients a safe space where they felt like they could do that. And
Mhm.
again, that's where that counselor in you comes into play. So we talked about the courts that you argued in front of, the federal courts, as well as state courts. Um, And so, and we talked about how you've balanced your life. We've covered some of these just in, those conversations earlier. So let me ask you, just make it a little bit fun. What's your favorite pastime?
Okay, it varies.
Okay.
It depends again where I am.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing to give me a good book. It could be fiction or nonfiction.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was telling my husband the other day, I said, I finished books in like 2 days. If it's really good, I'm into it.
I'm the
Yeah,
same.
I'm into it. But now for the past since COVID, I've been gardening. And
Mm.
so I've kind of gone down that rabbit hole. I mean,
Yeah.
I've got a greenhouse now.
Where you have a greenhouse? Now, I was gonna say, well, I've gardened a little bit, but I have the above ground, the one that stands up
Well,
on the concrete. That's
oh,
where I started. And I have just a few little tomatoes and cucumbers
yeah.
and stuff, but I don't have a greenhouse.
Well,
Okay,
I got it for Christmas. I've been telling my husband for the longest I want a greenhouse, so he bought it for me for Christmas.
excellent.
But I did that as well. I mean, I started out with the tomatoes and the
Mm-hmm.
squash and
Mm-hmm.
green beans, and so
Yes.
this past winter I grew collards, broccoli. I mean, oh, I love it. So it's so relaxing. Like in the morning,
Yes.
see,
Uh-huh.
we're coming into my season now. So
Mm-hmm.
before work, I'm out there
Right.
in my gardening clothes and boots, and make
I
sure everybody
love
gets
that.
watered, and you
I
know
love that.
if I could do that,
Yes.
and not have to come to work, I think that's where I'd be right now. But I got to come take care of business. But that's my
Absolutely.
pastime at this moment. Right
Oh,
now, it's my
beautiful.
gardening. So I
It's
love it.
so peaceful and therapeutic. I do know.
It
I
is.
I I get it just with my little taste of it. And so that leads into how you manage stress and unwind, which we talked about that reading a good book. Now we know gardening. I don't think I would have thought that, but okay, I see it. I
Yeah, that's
see
where
it.
I am
I'm gonna
now.
have to get over there to come see your greenhouse.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Yes.
All
Yes.
right. And then so we talked about it, we touched on a little bit, and we're gonna get ready to wind down. But so what would you tell the aspiring lawyer today? Just maybe three things. You said one, I remember you saying get in contact, maybe shadow an attorney, you know, another learn, you know, the
Mhm.
practice a little bit, understand what might be happening. And is there something else you wanted to add?
Um, I think keep an open mind about the areas of law that you would practice. I was
Hmm.
thinking about that this morning.
Hmm.
A lot of the attorneys now that I encounter, they say, "Oh, I want to go into corporate law." There's nothing wrong with corporate law,
I know
but
I'm in corporate law, but
I know, and that's cool. And I much respect, but
right.
there are so many areas of law.
So many
Not
areas.
necessarily what I do, but there's I tell people I was talking to a young man, actually, it was a judge's son. She had
Okay.
brought him to court because he thought he might be an attorney. And
Okay.
he was sitting beside me, and I said, well, um, Microsoft hires lawyers,
Hmm.
Google hires lawyers.
Hmm.
If you're an engineer, you can be a lawyer.
Hmm.
Video companies that make video games, they hire lawyers.
Yes. Oh,
I said,
yes.
so the sky's the limit. I mean, if you're interested in music or whatever, hey, Sony hires lawyers.
Hmm.
I actually know
Sure
a young
do.
lady who used to
Hmm.
be a vice president with Sony, and then she's an
Hmm.
attorney. So I mean, there's
Hmm.
just you name it. So I think keep your mind open about
Hmm.
what area you want to practice.
Yes.
And I guess what would be the third thing I would tell them? Um, well, it kind of goes back to what I was mentioning about corporate law.
Hmm.
And these are minorities that I'm speaking of, but some
Hmm.
have to come back home, not necessarily to your hometown, but
That's
we
right.
can't forget the little people. We
That's
still need
correct.
attorneys that are actually representing the average person or the person in the community. So,
Right.
keep that in mind as well
Hmm.
as an option for you to practice law. So those would be some
Absolutely.
of the things I think I
Excellent.
would tell them.
Excellent. That is, and you're right. And I remember the one thing you told me, and you probably don't remember this, but I never forgot it. You told
Uh-uh.
me that a law degree was a Renaissance degree.
It is.
And you said you can use it in any area. And I have met many attorneys, as you said, that have worked in corporate America, but they've also worked in different capacity, risk, compliance. asset management,
Mhm.
all of these, not just in the legal department, strategic sourcing, which I did for a number of years in corporate America and learned a lot about negotiating, commercial complex agreements, doing multi-million-dollar deals, but you told me that, and I really appreciate that. And I've actually since shared that information with other new or aspiring attorneys that my mentor in legal told me that it was a Renaissance degree. And despite whatever you have seen or know about it, you can utilize it in all areas, really in any industry,
Yep.
So that was some really good advice. And I've never lost that. And I've always remembered and retained it. And I've shared that, henceforth. So last question, I just wanted to, is there anything else you wanted to share? One, I want, people to know how they can reach you. You can share your website. You can also share if there, I don't know if you have a social media presence. So if you can just share that with everyone, that would be great.
Sure. So you can find me, Attorney Regina Taylor, law offices of Regina M. Taylor. I'm in Gastonia, North Carolina. I practice all over the state of North Carolina, though. I am on Instagram, if you can believe it, at Regina Taylor, ATTY. I'm also on Facebook, LinkedIn. I even have a TikTok channel where
Wow.
I share some, yeah. That's why I laugh when I say it, but where I share different legal tips
Yes.
and other information. My website is www.attorneyreginataylor.com.
All right. Great. Regina, again, I am indebted for life to
Oh,
you.
child.
Again, I'm so appreciate you and everything that you've done for me, a young lawyer coming, out of law school and just being able to pick up the phone, as you said that you had in your life. You've paid it forward with me over and over again, and just thank you for just continuing to be available and being the first person on Thinking with Tay. So and hopefully again it's the first of many. But thank you so much for your time today, and I wish you nothing but the best in life. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. This has been fun.
Absolutely. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.